To use sales scripts or not use sales scripts? That certainly seems to be the question. The answer isn't quite as cut and dry as you might think. Let's have ourselves a pocket sized pep talk, and I'll show you both the pros and cons of this controversial approach to selling.
Pocket Sized Pep Talk, the podcast that can help energize your business and your life with a quick, inspiring message. Now, here's your host, Rob Jollis.
The use of sales scripts is one of the oldest techniques taught to salespeople in how to sell. In my sales career, I had to learn 3 scripts. The first was a fairly short, punchy one from New York Life called The 100-Man Story. It tracked the typical financial planning of 100 men and the disappointing number of those who actually retired financially sound. According to our script, it didn't go well, with the final line trumpeting, "You see, these people didn't plan to fail. They failed to plan." It was clever, but a little too corny for me to use in its entirety. The second script was also with New York Life, and a tougher one to learn, called The Live, Die, Quit Story. It provided all the options that a prospect could expect from an insurance policy, but in truth, it was lengthy, contained only 2 questions within it, and I rarely used it. I told my manager I was faithfully reciting it in my sales calls, and to be fair, I did find myself using parts of it. The third was the granddaddy of them all, the Xerox demo script. That script appeared to go on forever, stretching 10 pages, and seemed more of a rite of passage to work for Xerox than an actual tool to help sell. I memorized it. I got my manager to check off on the fact I memorized it. And much like the longer New York Life scripts, I secretly found myself using various parts of it from time to time. What I didn't know was that I was using these scripts properly. The fact is, there are pros and cons to using scripts when selling. It's harder for me to defend the use of scripts, so let's start there. Listen to my words carefully. Scripts are good as long as they aren't used like scripts. You see, a script is frequently associated with a written text, often used in a screenplay or a broadcast. These scripts are not to be deviated from. Often managers see the scripts that are provided for salespeople to be used the same way, a word for word regurgitation of a manicured document. And that's exactly how not to use a script. Soon after I finished my grumbling about the ridiculous Xerox script I painstakingly learned, I found myself in a critical sales situation, under pressure, being asked questions, difficult questions that required succinct and well thought out responses. From what felt like nowhere, I managed to come up with extremely articulate answers. Where did those answers come from, you might ask? That script I had been whining about. Almost magically, it provided me with a catalog of clear responses to tricky questions I would go on to use for the rest of my sales career. To simply say all scripts are bad just isn't a fair statement, as long as they're used correctly. Well, so let's get to the cons. It's a big assumption, but let's assume you can learn a script well enough to deliver it in an authentic way so it doesn't actually sound like a script. And let's also assume we have people in management who actually know how to manage those using a script. They understand that scripts are a well thought out collection of information that can be used in helping to articulate challenging aspects of those sales. That leaves us with one stubborn con, which in my mind is lethal. That would be the word itself and the perception of what a script is. The word script is similar to the word chalkboard. They are both antiquated. You know why I use flip charts instead of chalkboards in the workshops I deliver? It has nothing to do with which is better, and everything to do with which is perceived as more professional. In a perfect world, I'd rather you invest the majority of your time working with a repeatable, predictable process, utilizing ethical tactics. It would allow you to listen, ask questions, engage, and think on your feet. But when the need arises for a clear response to a difficult concept, I'd let that script work its magic. I just wouldn't tell anyone.
Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please rate and recommend it on iTunes, Outcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also get more information on this show and Rob at jollis.com.